Now, our next speaker, Harry O'Brien, is known to many Australians. Harry is the first ever Brazilian-born player in the Australian Football League. He's a compassionate and inspiring leader in Australia. He's dedicated to his team and his sport, but more importantly, he is a very active supporter of UNICEF, where he regularly advocates as a celebrity ambassador for positive childhood development and well-being. I know you're going to love hearing his story today. Please welcome Harry. History has proven to us that in times of great change, there is an emergence of uncertainty. And with great uncertainty, we see destructive forces such as extremism and irrationality. We, humanity, is currently going through radical change. And in this chaos, we can lose ourselves to irrationality and forget the most important factor in generating real change. And that important factor is the power of the individual. Good afternoon, my name is Harry O'Brien. I was born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 1986. I was born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 1986 to a Brazilian mother and an African father from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I moved to Australia when I was 3 years of age, where I've lived ever since. I'm currently a professional footballer. However, football does not define me as a human being. I prefer to define myself simply as a global citizen. I do not define myself as an Australian, a Brazilian, nor an African. I'm a global citizen. And it is this way of thinking from a young age that my mother instilled into me that has inspired me to go onto a journey to utilise my abilities and my strengths to do what I can to create positive change in my environment. Now today I won't be speaking about global health or world politics, nor will I be speaking about economics, because this is not my area of expertise, nor is it my domain. Despite the fact that I'm extremely passionate about these areas, it is not my expertise. Today I'll be speaking about something that I am an expert at, and that is simply being a human being. Now, in these great times, in these times of uncertainty, there is a need for introspection. And this is something that I believe that the majority of us tend to forget. Now, I'm in a room here with amazing people from all around the world, from so many different nations that are doing fantastic work out in the community through various initiatives that are impacting a tremendous amount of people. And I commend you all for the work that you're doing and encourage you to continue to explore the avenues in which you can utilise your talents and abilities to contribute to humanity. However, I will make it very clear, it's a very simple lesson that I've learnt in recent times has been harnessing the power of the individual. Now today I'll be touching on a very personal and intimate story. A story that as I was sitting, I counted, I've told 5 people. Today I'll be sharing it with almost 2,000. This is a very personal story, a story that I've had to really work with and understand the lessons from. Now, on Christmas Day in 2011, I was back in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I was staying in a favela with family, a favela being a ghetto or a slum. I was staying in the north of Rio de Janeiro. And it was on Christmas Day where I was up right nice and early because of the time difference. And at 8 a.m. I decided that I needed some cash to buy food for my family. Now as I was walking down the main street in the north of Rio de Janeiro, the street was absolutely deserted. There was not a person in sight. And just as I started to notice the beauty in the silence in a normally chaotic street, I heard the sounds of gunfire. And this is quite a normal phenomenon in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, particularly in the north. However, as I turned around and I looked to the right of my shoulder, I saw a car coming behind me, and I heard the screeching tyres of that car. And the car came up behind me, and I was on one side of the footpath, and the car came up on the footpath and smashed straight into a light bulb. Now my initial reaction was to help. There was no one around. So I rushed to the car, and I thought, well, I'm trained in first aid. I know that this is the first time I'm going to be able to practice it, and I'm ready to do it. But as I looked into the car, I saw a young man, possibly in his late 20s, just like myself. And he had a gaping hole in his jugular. He'd been shot, I suspect, by a 7.62, a very powerful assault rifle. Now from his neck, the blood was streaming like a river. I'd never seen anything quite like it. I was shaken up by it, but I tried to keep my composure. I knew I had to get him out of the car. But as I looked into the car, I noticed that he had a pistol on his lap. I was trying to open the door of the car, but it just wouldn't budge because the car had crumpled up. I felt extremely helpless, but I knew I had to get him out of the car, and the windows were open. As I looked into the car and I looked at this young man, I could see a look in his eyes. There was a desperation. He couldn't communicate with me verbally, but I know full well what he was communicating to me. I could see regret. I could see anger, frustration. He knew he was taking his last breath. And I locked eyes with him, and it was possibly the most intimate moment I've ever had in my life, as I watched the life being drained from this human being who had been shot. And I felt extremely helpless. I couldn't do anything but look into this man's eyes as he was trying to communicate with me. I then looked to the back seat and I saw it was Christmas Day, and the back seat was full of presents, possibly for a family, for loved ones. Presents that most likely wouldn't be delivered because the family would be struck by tragedy. Now, after this event, I was able to do nothing. The man lost his life. But after this event, I remember feeling as though I was okay. I'd seen something horrific, but I wasn't really affected by it. But it wasn't until I got back here to Melbourne 2 weeks after the event that I really felt the effects of what I had just seen. I guess it was the contrast. I saw people here in Australia complaining about the most petty things. And I just remember losing full faith in the world. I sunk into a depression. I had terrible anxiety and post-traumatic stress. And as a result, my football, which is my current occupation, went downhill. My performances went downhill. My involvements out in the community, I had less energy, and I felt terrible. I had lost full faith in the world, and I was contemplating whether or not I should be alive. It wasn't until I fully addressed this issue, and the many other traumas that I had left to the back of my mind through my childhood and recent years, that I fully gained an appreciation and understanding of the words of the great leader Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you would like to see in the world. You see, we all speak about great ideals, and we are all involved in amazing things, as I am. However, quite often we forget to put ourselves first. We speak about global health, and we work in that field. However, I ask you, how healthy are you? We speak about world peace, ending conflicts. But I ask you, do you have peace of mind? See, the point I'm trying to make here is until you fully embrace and understand the power that you have within, your efficiency and effectiveness will be limited, just as mine was. And when you choose to go to those dark places, and we all have dark places, we all do. They won't be the same experiences that I've had, but we've all had to face traumas and tragedies. But unfortunately, the majority of us don't fully deal with them and move on with them and learn the valuable blessings that these traumas and tragedies have. You see, when I fully addressed the tragedies of my life, which include suicide, sexual abuse, just to name a few, when I fully embraced and decided to confront those dark times in my present state, I was able to realise the full power that I truly have as an individual. It wasn't until I found peace of mind, which is relatively in recent times, that I was able to harness the true power that I have. I urge you all to do the same. You all do amazing work here, and I'm so proud to be involved in such an amazing event. However, I urge you all to look at the power that you have. Do the work that you're doing, but find introspection. And just as I looked at those presents that the young man had in the back of the seat, I realised something quite profound, and this was something very recent, that I realised what this symbolised. This symbolised that make sure that the world is able to receive the presence that you have on offer. And until you confront your personal demons, you'll never know that full capacity. Thank you.